Hello everyone, Katya here from The Functional Horse. In today's video, we will be talking about proprioception and why it matters, why it's important to our horses. We will also be looking at 3 different ways that we can improve our horse's proprioception. So, proprioception is the body's ability to sense movement, action, and location. It basically tells you where each of your body parts is located in space. So, proprioception is what tells us how high we have to lift our leg when stepping over a root, how to guide the spoon into our mouth, how to tackle stairs in the dark, as well as impressive athletic feats. So proprioception plays a big role in coordination, and it is very important in horses because obviously it enables them to carry a rider in a healthy posture and to also successfully execute complex movements of specific equestrian disciplines. Trouble with proprioception can and does develop in horses quite often due to chronic lameness, muscle tension, unhealthy movement patterns, and so on. And in these cases, we can use simple proprioceptive exercises, of course, along with a good rehab program, to improve their ability to sense their body in space and thus improve their athletic performance. So let's talk about the nervous system for a minute. When we think about the systems needed to create movement, we usually focus on muscles, on tendons, on bones, basically on the musculoskeletal system. But all of this tissue, all of that muscle is no good without a proper control center. And that's what the nervous system is. The nervous system is the one sensing where the body and its parts are located, how tense the muscles are, and whether or not there is any pain or discomfort present. The nerves and their associated nerve endings located in the skin, the muscles, and most of all the fascia, make up the peripheral nervous system, while the brain and the spinal cord are part of the central nervous system, the control center. There are numerous different types of nerve endings, but put simply, we can divide them into 2 groups. The first one, sensory nerves, they gather information and send it to the central nervous system, while the others, the motor nerves, they make sure the orders that are issued by the central nervous system are executed. Proprioceptors are nerve endings that send information about what position individual body parts are in and where in space they are located. We can find an abundance of proprioceptors in the fascia, the connective tissue that surrounds muscles and other organs. This is why proprioception is very, very closely connected to the health of and the functionality of the fascia. We will talk about that in another video as it is a subject on its own. So proprioception is an ability that adapts to stimuli, which is great because that means that it can become better through exercises. But on the other hand, it can also become diminished whenever we have dysfunction. There are many reasons why the proprioceptive ability of a horse can become diminished. One is just a general lack of stimuli. If a horse spends the majority of his time in a stall and is only used to exercising on the well-maintained arena surface, his proprioceptive ability will become a bit lazy, to say. And if we then ask that same horse to negotiate varied and difficult terrain, he will most likely be more prone to tripping than a horse that's used to it and will have a harder time keeping his balance. Proprioception can and does very often become diminished in cases of injury and disease. As far as disease goes, we have lots of diseases of the nervous system, diseases that affect the nervous system, and those can wreak havoc on proprioception. Another reason why proprioception can become diminished is chronic dysfunction or chronic pain. A good example of this is chronic back pain. So the thoracolumbar fascia is very rich in proprioceptors. And when there is long-lasting pain and tension present in this area, the functioning of the proprioceptors in the thoracolumbar fascia will become worse. They will sort of fall asleep. They won't be functioning properly anymore. What that means is that the horse will be less aware of his hind legs or his general body position whenever there is chronic back pain present. So trouble with hind end coordination can be seen as tripping, as the inability to do collective movements, and just general poor performance. In the long run, we can also observe loss of muscle mass in the hind legs. And when this happens, it is essential to first address the cause. And then second, as part of the rehabilitation program, it is also really important to retrain the proprioceptors. And lucky for us, the exercise with which we can do this are relatively simple. So let's look at some of them. The first set of exercises are called somatic exercises. Somatics is a Greek term, soma meaning body. And somatics basically describes using your body with awareness. Somatic exercises are well known in human physiotherapy and are based on executing simple movements with focus and awareness. Perhaps the most well-known method that uses this type of exercises is Feldenkrais, because we can't give the horse oral instructions on what to do and what to pay attention to while doing it, like we do in Feldenkrais. Somatics for horses is a little bit different to somatics in people. But basically what we are doing is putting different body parts in different positions while never forcing or restricting movement. This is very important, never forcing or restricting movement. What this means in practice is we can lift up a horse's leg and guide it in a certain position, maybe in protraction, maybe in retraction. But the important thing here is relaxation. We're not stretching, we're not mobilizing. We are just exploring comfortable range of motion. We're asking the horse, can you go here comfortably? So how can we do these exercises? We can pick up the horse's leg, bring it slightly forward, bring it slightly back, and put it back on the ground. That's all. The important thing here is that we do it slowly and that we do it with the horse's permission. So the idea is to play around with the horse's awareness, and it's vital that we don't force anything. We typically like to do each exercise 3 times. So pick up the leg, slowly bring it forward, slowly bring it back, keeping a very small range of motion, and then slowly putting it back on the ground. Then we pause and repeat 2 more times. It can sometimes help to match the movements that we are doing to our breathing. So inhale, we lift the leg, exhale, we put it back down. And we can apply the same principle, the same exercise to the head and neck. So gently invite the neck to the side into a position that is still comfortable, and then gently guide it back, and then repeat twice. The most important thing here is that the horse decides how far to go. If he wants to go back, we follow, and we then ask again. So there should never be any pulling or any wrestling or any resistance. We can time this one obviously with the breath, with breathing again. So breathe in, we invite the head to the side, breathe out, we bring it back to the middle. We can do these somatic exercises every day before work. They are great for bringing awareness to body structures that need to be awake and active during work. So in this way, we are waking up the proprioceptors and inducing better body awareness. When there's too much going on, when the horse is fidgety, or if he's having a bad day, I would recommend skipping these exercises because they really do only have an effect if the horse is focused on what we are doing. Relaxation is key, and if we don't have it, there's no point in doing these exercises. Okay, the next exercise on our list are balance pads. Balance pads are very common in the field of human physiotherapy, and using pads of different firmness, we can improve stability, balance, and general body awareness. So standing on a hard, firm surface like the ground doesn't really pose much of a challenge from a balance point of view. But on the other hand, on the other end of the spectrum, standing on top of a yoga ball is a huge challenge. So balance pads are somewhere in between. Now, there are many pads on the market to choose from. You can get normal human ones, or you can splurge a little bit and get the ones designed specifically for horses. They're called surefoot pads, and they are amazing. Or we can experiment with making our own out of an old yoga mat. So if you have the option, I would highly recommend buying the surefoot pads, as they come in different firmness options and are very durable. But whatever works for you. So first we need to make sure our horse is okay with the pads being around him. Before we ask him to stand on them, let him smell them, let him get to know them. And when he is okay with the pad, we can lift one of his front legs and place it gently down on the mat, or sorry, on the pad. Don't force the horse to stand on the pad if he doesn't want to. Again, like with the previous exercise, we need the horse's permission. When he is okay with one pad, we can try both legs. And usually horses do very much like this position and find it quite comfortable, but some need longer to get used to the funny feeling of a pad under the feet. The horse should stand on the pads for as long as he is comfortable, or for about a minute or two. There's no point in overdoing it. And then we can do the same with hind legs as well. Standing on balance pads is not really difficult from a muscular point of view, but the proprioceptors will be firing big time while he is standing on them. The minute changes in balance that are, brought about by the pad are an ideal challenge for lazy nerve endings. We can do this exercise before work as well. We just need to make sure that the horse does not find it to be a stressful experience. The third kind of exercise, or the third kind of thing that we can do to improve our horse's proprioception, are makeshift proprioceptive pathways. So diversity in surface, diversity in work is key in maintaining a good proprioceptive ability, because if the conditions change all the time, then the nerve endings have to be alert all the time. A very effective and simple way to improve proprioception is walking on different surfaces. In rehab centers, they usually have a circular proprioceptive pathway that consists of different surfaces that change every few meters. And in this way, the proprioceptors are exposed to gravel, to sand, asphalt, water, all in a very short period of time. Every change in surface is detected and reported back to the central nervous system, which then sends back instructions on how to best tackle the new surface. So walking on changing surfaces is a very good exercise for the nervous system. Of course, most of us don't have access to a professionally developed proprioceptive pathway, but with some imagination, we can find different surfaces to play with around our area. So when we are walking by the side of the road, we can walk on the asphalt a little bit and then move to the gravel surface, and then maybe take a few steps on the grass that's beside the road, and so on. If we walk on uneven surfaces where the horse also has to step over a fallen branch or something similar, this can be an added bonus. And if our horse is not used to being outside and is not used to trail rides and finds this type of work very stressful, we can create different surfaces in our backyard with some imagination, of course. The plus side of doing it in our backyard is that we can then add even more surfaces, like maybe a plastic tarp, or add some cavaletti and similar. Like with all exercising that are targeting proprioception, again, relaxation and focus are key. I hope this has given you some ideas that you can try with your horse, especially if he is currently coming back from an injury or is dealing with musculoskeletal issues. But make sure that if your horse is in a rehabilitation program, be sure to talk to your vet before implementing any of these exercises into your regime. Okay? And thank you very much for watching. I invite you all to visit our website, thefunctionalhorse.com, where you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter and get weekly articles, videos, and other educational content for free. So thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.